This is the WEN ME175P Miter Saw Protractor. It's an incredibly useful tool, especially if you're cutting crown molding, baseboards, or doing other finishing work. In this video, we'll get to know the tool and go over how to use it. Let's jump in. This protractor is made from CNC machined aluminum, and its scales are laser engraved, which means you get maximum accuracy with every measurement and don't have to worry about losing accuracy over time. Speaking of scales, there are two. One for making miter cuts, also called double cuts, and one for making single cuts. The miter scale is the inner scale. The outer pointer on the wing points to the angle on the miter scale. This scale is used for making cuts that require two workpieces coming together. For example, say you have two pieces of baseboard coming together at a corner. For that, you would use the miter scale. There are two types of corners. This is an exterior corner, also called an outside corner. To measure it, we place one wing against one wall and the other wing swings around too, like this. Not all walls come together at a perfect 90 degrees, which is what this tool will tell you. Flip it over and use the arrow on the outside and read the scale on the inside. And we can see that we're getting an indication of 46 degrees, and we can take that directly over to our miter saw. Best of all, you can just read your miter saw's setting from the scale and transfer it directly to the saw. We can take our miter saw and set it directly to 46 degrees. That will give us a perfect cut. Make that cut twice, once on each piece, and they'll come together really nicely. This is an interior corner, also called an inside corner. To measure it, we place one wing against one wall, and the other wing swings around to the other wall like this. Same deal as before, we can read the setting directly off the scale. Right now we're getting an indication of 45 degrees. Outer arrow, inner scale. And we can set it directly to 45 degrees. Same as before, that'll give us a clean joint. So we've gone over how to use the miter scale for double cuts. Now let's go over single cuts. This is the type of cut you'd make if you had, for example, a piece of baseboard coming up against a bathtub. The workpiece isn't meeting anything else, not touching another workpiece, so you'll only have to make one cut. So you use the single cut scale, which is the pointer on the inside scale which says single cut, and that points to the reading on the outer scale. So let's imagine that this table is the floor and this wall is the bathtub. Same deal as before, we place one wing of the tool on the floor like this and bring the other wing up. Make sure both are flush against the workpieces. We can read the miter saw's setting directly off the scale. This time we're going to use the single cut arrow and the scale on the outside. It's important to note that the scale on the outside has gradations in 2 degrees, so you have 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Looks like we're getting a reading of half a degree, maybe 1 degree. If it were a little bit further off, say like this, it would be just under 4 degrees. And again, we can take that over to the miter saw, make that cut once, and we'll be nice and flush every time. And finally, if you need to make any adjustments, there's a screw on the back here. If you ever need to adjust how tight or loose the wings are, you can just adjust this screw using a 4mm hex wrench. Also, there is a hole at the end of each wing. Those holes are great for mounting the gauge on a pegboard. I hope that this video is helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us. You can call our friendly and knowledgeable tech support team at 1-800-232-1195, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Central Time. Or drop us an email at techsupport@wenproducts.com. Thanks for watching.
Remember WEN.